Hey everybody, it's Wendy. Welcome. So excited that you're here with me today because I have a really simple wreath card for you, and it is featuring the Rose Wonder stamp set, which is not even a Christmas stamp. So that's super fun and cool. Now, I want to tell you right off the bat, this card was completely inspired by the one and only amazing Christina Werner. She actually taught on one of her YouTube videos how to create a wreath with kind of like any leaf. So this is the Rose Wonder set, and then I have the Christmas Pines because I use the Noel from the Christmas Pines for my sentiment. So you need a lid or something circular, basically, is all it boils down to. It doesn't really matter what it is. I use the inside of this mason jar lid because I have mason jars everywhere because I have a mason jar problem. It's a problem, people. I have a fetish with mason jars. I don't think I should say fetish on a video. That's not what it's not a fetish, like gross. It's just like I really love mason jars. So anyway, I digress. This piece of cardstock is 4x4. It is Whisper White cardstock. I'm going to use Memento Tuxedo black ink and stamp this leaf sprig. That's what I'm calling it. I really don't know what it is, but I'm going to stamp it around the circle. But first I need to create a couple of masks. So I have masking paper that I use from Simon Says Stamp. It comes in big sheets, and then I always have scraps of it and stuff, and you can stamp on it. Anything that is a non-Stampin' Up! Product, I will link to below the video and over on my blog, as well as all the Stampin' Up! Products. But I use a few things on this card that are not Stampin' Up! Products. I know, shocker, it's horrible. I'm going straight to Stampin' Up! Hell, I'm sure, but I can't resist on some of these products. So the Simon Says Stamp masking paper is awesome. However, you could totally use Post-it notes. You can use Post-it note tape, which you can purchase at like Staples or anywhere like that. So when I put this leaf sprig on the block, I curved it as much as I possibly could without messing up the integrity of the stamp, basically. So I curved it and put it down, and now I'm using my little mask on this one leaf for each sprig that I stamp because I need it to go circular, right? So it's going to overlap at the back, and I needed to cover up that leaf so I wouldn't have a bunch of lines going through my leaves. Now, this actually ends up being a little bit like a square. I couldn't quite get it to look like a circle, and Christina had extra stamps where she did this really cool thing and just kept overlapping and overlapping and made it look like a really cool circle. I took it a step down from that and just said, you know what, I want this to be easy and simple and quick, and I don't want to spend 42 hours on this card. So in actuality, I'm spending 9 minutes showing you this technique, but it took me 15 minutes to make this card start to finish, but I speed the process up through the wonders of video editing so that you don't have to sit here with me as long as it takes me to make the card. And then you can just get the idea of how it all works, right? So there's the wreath, and you can see it's got like a little bit of a square shape, but once you get everything else put on it, it really doesn't matter, and it's perfectly wonderful. So I'm going to go through with my pencil and erase all of the lines that are going through the leaves because I use that circle to trace a line with the pencil. I really recommend using a good pencil with a good eraser. I don't know if you've ever had this experience where you go to erase something and the eraser makes a bunch of marks all over the paper. It's because the eraser is either old and dried out, or it's really cheap, and so it messes up your paper. So now we're going to work at warp speed. I wish I could move this fast because my house would be super clean all the time and my laundry would be done in the blink of an eye, and it would be like this really cool superhuman thing I had going for me. But I don't. So I'm using my dark marker first. Now this is what I've learned with Stampin' Blends. I've been using Stampin' Blends a lot because I like to learn how to use a product well. So what I have learned with Stampin' Blends, because there's only a light and a dark. There's no medium tone. There's nothing you can add. Well, that's not true. So there's no medium tone. So in order to get the light and dark to blend really, really well, I have learned to put down your dark first. Put down whatever area that you want shaded first. then go over the whole thing with your light marker. Now, some colors work better with this than other colors, but the green works incredible. You see the beautiful leaves here. Now, I could have even gone back again probably with the dark on the back end of these leaves to make them even a little bit darker, but I chose not to do that because primarily for time's sake, but also because you can start to get some bleeding. So I have come across a few people who have complained about having bleeding with their markers, and it's one of two problems. Either you're using crappy paper that's not taking the ink, you need to use Whisper White thick cardstock, or another type of cardstock from another company that's a marker type cardstock. And you need to be very stingy with your ink. The more ink you layer, the more it's going to bleed through, and then it can start going through your edges. Also, you need to color on paper. So you put your paper that you've stamped on top of a piece of paper before you do your coloring, so that it gives your marker ink somewhere to go. So you can see the back here. I've got all these really cool looking leaves that have melted through. That's how it should look. That's not a bad thing. When you use alcohol-based markers, they should bleed through like that. So if they're not doing that, you're not laying down enough ink, so you're not getting a pretty blend inside the picture. Okay, while I was yapping about all of that, I stamped in cherry cobbler ink, and then I put clear embossing powder over it and heat set it. And so I got this really cool textured raised Noel from the middle. I'm taking my linen thread here and making a little bitty bow that I'm going to put at the top of this wreath. And then I'm going to bring in some Nuvo drops, and I'm going to add those. They are not from Stampin' Up. You can purchase them. I'm going to link to them so you can purchase them through my link. And they're really, really fun and cool to work with, and I have several of them. I absolutely love them. So I'll add those to make my berries. All right, so story time is that we have been obsessed with this show, Hell on Wheels. Have you guys heard about this show or seen it? It is incredible. So with these Nuvo drops, back to the card, I put down a little bit and I pull straight up, and then it settles and it makes this really rounded, beautiful little embellishment looking thing. So that's what I'm doing here. Okay, so this show is based during the Civil War era, right after the Civil War has ended. And they're building a railroad, the Union Pacific to be specific. So they're building this railroad, and it's all about the trials and tribulations of life at that time with Native Americans and the struggles of classes and just so many things, and being in the wild, wild west. It's such a cool show. If you don't like violence, I wouldn't recommend it for you. It can get a little bit graphic, but it's a great show, has an awesome storyline, and I will just tell you, one of the main characters, Bohannon, he is not bad to look at, my friends. So anyway, if you're looking for a new show to binge watch, it's on Netflix. It has 5 seasons. We're on season 4, and it's definitely been awesome, and it's a great husband-wife duo show because I don't know, like I feel like it's good for women and men to watch. It's not like very specific to either. So anyway, so now I've added all my berries. We've been watching that show, and they keep calling this guy in the show a carpetbagger. So I had to look up what that was. So it's kind of fun. You just keep like learning all these cool things from the Civil War era, right? All right, if you want to watch anything else from me, click on either of the videos you see here. Click on the circle with my face in it to subscribe, and I will talk to you again on Wednesday for my live YouTube. Bye-bye.